The polished halls of Metro City Medical Center, a fortress of health and healing in a bustling urban core, were about to face an unforeseen challenge. When Deborah Jenkins, a talented and determined nurse, joined their staff, she had no idea of the deep-seated prejudices she would encounter. Tensions mounted and conflicts escalated, but a seemingly ordinary patient named Elijah Vance watched silently from his hospital bed. But Mr. Vance was no ordinary patient, and his presence was about to change everything. Let's find out, but before we dive into this story, comment below where you're watching from today, and if you enjoy this tale with unexpected twists and moments of justice, don't forget to subscribe. As Deborah walked into the main lobby for her first day, the scent of antiseptic was thick, but it was an underlying current of tension that made her stomach churn. As she approached the nurse's station, a sudden hush fell over the area. Conversations dropped to whispers and eyes darted away as if afraid to make contact. "Excuse me," Deborah said, her voice steady. "I'm Deborah Jenkins, the new nurse. Could you direct me to the head nurse's office?" A woman with fiery red hair looked up, her eyes widening slightly before a practiced but chilly smile spread across her face. "Down the hall, second door on the right." Deborah thanked her, but the nurse had already turned away. The sound of Deborah's sensible shoes echoed in the unnatural quiet. As she neared the head nurse's office, a tall, distinguished-looking man in a white coat emerged from a nearby room. His silver hair and authoritative bearing marked him as senior staff. "Good morning, doctor," Deborah offered, a warm smile on her face. "I'm Deborah Jenkins, the new nurse." The doctor's dark eyes swept over her, his expression impassive. "Dr. Marcus Thorne," he replied curtly. "I trust you're prepared to meet our very high standards here at Metro City Medical. We expect excellence." Without waiting for a response, he brushed past her. Deborah felt a moment of deflation, but she quickly regrouped. She drew strength from the memory of her late mother's words. "Baby girl, you're going to have to fight twice as hard, but you come from a long line of strong women. You've got that same strength in you." Taking a deep breath, Deborah knocked on the head nurse's door. Inside, she was greeted by a middle-aged woman with a stern expression. "Miss Davis," she said, "we have a lot to cover and I expect you to keep up." The rest of Deborah's first day was a blur of orientation and distant introductions. She felt like an outsider, constantly aware of the hushed conversations that stopped when she drew near. By the time her shift ended, she was mentally and emotionally exhausted. As she gathered her belongings, she overheard two nurses whispering. "Did you see the new hire?" one whispered. "I don't know what they were thinking," the other replied. "This isn't exactly the place for, you know." Deborah's hand froze on her locker door. The reality of her situation hit her hard. This was going to be a daily battle. She left the hospital and called her best friend, Sarah. "It was rough, Sarah," Deborah said, her voice barely above a whisper. "You've worked too hard to let anyone make you feel less than," Sarah replied, her voice filled with understanding. "You're a brilliant nurse, Deborah. Just do your job better than anyone else and don't let them see you falter." Sarah's words gave Deborah the strength she needed. As she hung up, a sleek black sedan slowed down nearby. Through the tinted windows, she caught a glimpse of Dr. Thorne. His eyes locked on her for a moment before the car sped away. Deborah squared her shoulders. She was ready to face whatever came next. The following weeks unfolded like a slow-burning fuse. The initial coolness she experienced had evolved into an insidious form of exclusion. Dr. Thorne seemed to take a perverse pleasure in finding fault with her work. One morning, he called out across the nurse's station, "Nurse Jenkins, I hope you've familiarized yourself with our protocols. We can't afford any mistakes." Throughout the day, Deborah was assigned the most challenging and undesirable tasks. "Deborah, would you mind taking Mr. Williams in room 405? A colleague asked, her voice sickly sweet. "He's been a bit difficult today." Deborah knew difficult was an understatement. Mr. Williams was known for his racist outbursts and had already driven two nurses to tears that week. As she entered his room, she was met with a tirade of slurs. "I don't want no colored nurse touching me." Deborah took a deep breath, her composure a shield against the hatred. She performed her tasks with precision and care. When she emerged, Dr. Thorne was waiting. "Everything all right, Nurse Jenkins?" "We heard quite a commotion. Mr. Williams's vitals are stable, and his dressing has been changed. Is there anything else you need?" Deborah responded calmly. A flicker of surprise crossed the doctor's face before he recovered his condescending demeanor. "Well, let's hope you can maintain that level of composure with all your patients. We wouldn't want any complaints." The rest of her shift was a blur of endless tasks and subtle slights. She constantly double-checked her work, knowing the smallest mistake would be magnified. As she left that day, Dr. Thorne's black sedan slowed beside her. Waiting for the bus again, Nurse Jenkins? Such a shame. Looks like that's all you can afford on a nurse's salary, isn't it? The casual cruelty cut deep. He sped off, leaving her standing there, humiliated and angry. But as she boarded the bus, Deborah reminded herself she was not alone. The strength of generations was her shield. Tomorrow would be another battle, and she was determined to face it head-on. She just didn't know that an unexpected ally was about to enter her life. The next morning, an air of anticipation filled the hospital. A high-profile emergency operation was scheduled for later that day. When Deborah went to the nurse's station, she noticed a flurry of activity. "What's going on?" she asked a colleague. "A VIP patient is coming in, some big shot who got into a skiing accident," the nurse replied excitedly. "Both arms broken." Dr. Thorne appeared, his face set in a stern expression. "Nurse Jenkins," he said, his voice clipped. "I need you to handle the new admission in room 412, Mr. Elijah Vance. He's had a severe skiing accident, and both his arms are broken. I expect you to provide him with the utmost care." Deborah felt a mixture of surprise and suspicion. She entered Mr. Vance's room to find a middle-aged man with both arms in casts. Despite his injuries, he radiated a quiet authority. "Good morning, Mr. Vance. I'm Nurse Deborah Jenkins, and I'll be taking care of you." "Good morning, Nurse Jenkins," he replied, his eyes sharp and assessing. "You seem very competent. How have you found the hospital living up to its prestigious reputation?" he probed. Deborah's diplomatic answer was cut short by Dr. Thorne, who burst into the room with an overly cheerful demeanor. "Mr. Vance, I trust Nurse Jenkins has been taking good care of you? We only assign our best staff to our most distinguished patients." Mr. Vance's eyes flickered between the doctor and Deborah. "Indeed, Dr. Thorne. Nurse Jenkins has been exemplary. I was just asking her about her experiences here." Dr. Thorne's smile faltered. Deborah felt a surge of anger at his hypocrisy, but Mr. Vance seemed to sense the tension. "I see," he mused. "Well, I look forward to experiencing this supportive environment firsthand." Over the next few days, Deborah found sanctuary in Mr. Vance's room. He was alert, engaging, and genuinely interested in her. One afternoon, as she was changing his bandages, she overheard two nurses outside her door. "I don't trust that Jenkins woman with our VIP patient," one hissed. "Who knows what she might do?" Deborah's hands trembled. Mr. Vance noticed her distress. "Is everything all right, Nurse Jenkins?" he asked. "You know, I've always believed that a person's true character is revealed not in how they treat their superiors, but in how they treat those they perceive as beneath them." He held her gaze, a knowing look in his eyes. "I can tell you, the view from this bed has been illuminating." The following day, a high-stakes emergency operation was scheduled, and Deborah was asked to assist. As she scrubbed in, she felt the skeptical stares of her colleagues, but her mother's voice echoed in her mind, "Don't you dare let them see you falter." Midway through the surgery, Deborah noticed Dr. Thorne hesitating, his hands trembling. He was about to make a critical mistake. Without a second thought, she spoke up, "Dr. Thorne, perhaps we should consider approaching from a different angle. The patient's anatomy suggests it might be safer." The room went silent. Dr. Thorne's face filled with a mixture of shock and fury. But in that moment he nodded. He followed her suggestion, and the operation was a success. As they began to clean up, Dr. Thorne cornered her. "Nurse Jenkins, I need to see you in private. Now." She followed him, her heart pounding. He led her into Mr. Vance's room, unaware the patient was awake. "How dare you question my judgment in there?" he hissed, his face red with rage. "This is exactly why people like you don't belong in a prestigious institution like Metro City Medical." Just as Deborah was about to respond, a voice cut through the room. "Dr. Thorne," Mr. Vance said, his voice quiet but authoritative. "I believe you've forgotten where you are and who you're speaking to." Dr. Thorne's face paled as he turned to see Mr. Vance sitting up in bed. "I've been awake for quite some time, Doctor. Long enough to witness the disgraceful way you've been treating Nurse Jenkins." "I assure you there's been a misunderstanding," Dr. Thorne stammered. "There's been no misunderstanding," Mr. Vance cut him off sharply. "What I've witnessed is a clear pattern of discrimination and harassment. And it ends now." Dr. Thorne's bravado completely evaporated. Who are you?" he stammered, the realization dawning on him that his patient was no ordinary VIP. Mr. Vance smiled, but there was no warmth in his expression. "I am the chairman of the hospital's board of directors." The words hung in the air, a final, definitive blow that left Dr. Thorne's world spinning. The man he had openly disrespected and the nurse he had relentlessly harassed were now at the center of a monumental reckoning. Elijah Vance, the quiet, unassuming patient, was not just a VIP. He was the ultimate authority, the very person who held Dr. Thorne's career in his hands. Dr. Thorne's face, once red with fury, was now a ghostly white. He stammered, unable to form a coherent sentence, his eyes darting between Mr. Vance and Deborah, who stood frozen in a mixture of shock and vindication. The realization that his cruel and bigoted words had been overheard by the most powerful man in the hospital was a humiliation far greater than anything he had intended for Deborah. I can explain, sir, Dr. Thorne finally managed, his voice trembling. Mr. Vance raised a hand, silencing him. There's nothing to explain, doctor. I've seen everything I need to. From the moment I was admitted, I chose to observe. I've witnessed how you've deliberately undermined Nurse Jenkins's work, assigned her the most difficult patients, and humiliated her at every turn. And I've heard the racist remarks you just made. Is this the inclusive and supportive environment you so proudly claim to have at Metro City Medical? Dr. Thorne's head drooped. He had no defense. Deborah Jenkins, Mr. Vance continued, turning his gaze to her, you showed incredible strength and professionalism. You endured every slight and every challenge, and you did your job with excellence. Today you saved a life. You did so not because you were trying to prove a point, but because it is your nature to put your patient's safety above all else. That is the kind of talent and integrity that this hospital needs. The kind of talent that I intend to see thrive here. Tears welled in Deborah's eyes. It was the first time in weeks that she had felt truly seen. As for you, Dr. Thorne, Mr. Vance's voice hardened, effective immediately, your hospital privileges are revoked. I will personally ensure that this is a lesson for every single person who believes that prejudice has a place in this institution. I will not have Metro City Medical's reputation tarnished by your actions. You are done here. Dr. Thorne, looking defeated and broken, simply nodded and walked out of the room. The door closed behind him, leaving Deborah alone with Mr. Vance. The silence in the room was now one of immense relief. Thank you, Mr. Vance, Deborah said, her voice thick with emotion. I don't know what to say. Just call me Elijah, he said, a genuine warm smile finally appearing on his face. And there's no need to thank me, Deborah. You've earned this. You've taught this hospital a lesson it badly needed to learn. Your strength and resilience are more powerful than any title. News of Dr. Thorne's swift dismissal spread like wildfire. The other nurses, who had once been cold and distant, now looked at Deborah with a mixture of awe and respect. The whispers stopped, replaced by genuine curiosity. Some even approached her, apologizing for their behavior. They had seen the truth not in words but in action. They had witnessed Dr. Thorne's downfall and Deborah's triumph. A week later, Mr. Vance, now fully recovered, met with Deborah in the hospital lobby. I'm leaving for good today, Deborah, he said, but I wanted to meet with you one last time. I've been so impressed by your work and your character that I've decided to make a personal investment. I'm establishing the Deborah Jenkins Foundation, a fund dedicated to promoting diversity and inclusion within Metro City Medical. The foundation will provide scholarships for minority students and create mentorship programs to ensure that no one else has to face the challenges you did. Deborah's eyes widened. Elijah, that's incredible. It's just the start, he said. I also want to offer you a new position. I've spoken to the board and they've unanimously agreed. We want you to be the new head nurse. You've already shown us that you have the moral compass and strength to lead this hospital into a new era. Tears streamed down Deborah's face as she accepted the offer. The small, quiet moment at the bus stop all those weeks ago, a moment of utter despair, had led to this. Elijah Vance had not just been a patient. He had been a silent guardian, a catalyst for change. He had proven that one person's voice, when heard, could challenge a system of prejudice and turn it on its head. Deborah's story became a symbol of hope within the hospital. She had become an unexpected hero, and with her new position, she had the power to make sure that no one would ever have to go through what she did. She had not only won a personal battle but had started a movement that would change Metro City Medical Center forever. And it had all started with a single moment of courage. If you enjoyed this story of justice and unexpected twists, please let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more inspiring stories.